U.S. Northern Command is executing plans to prepare for a potential pandemic of the novel coronavirus, now called COVID-19, according to Navy and Marine Corps service-wide messages issued this week. An executive order issued by the Joint Staff and approved by Defense Secretary Mark Esper this month directed Northern Command and Geographic Combatant commanders to initiate pandemic plans, which include ordering commanders to prepare for widespread outbreaks and confining service members with a history of travel to China. The Navy and Marine Corps messages, issued Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively, reference an executive order directing U.S. Northern Command to implement the Department of Defense Global Campaign Plan for Pandemic Influenza and Infectious Diseases 3551-13. The document serves as the Pentagon's blueprint for planning and preparing for a widespread dispersion of influenza and previously unknown diseases. U.S. Northern Command said Wednesday it was directed the Joint Staff February 1 to commence prudent planning in their assigned roles, synchronizing the department's plans for pandemic flu and disease. U.S. Northern Command said Wednesday it was directed the Joint Staff February 1 to commence prudent planning in their assigned roles, synchronizing the department's plans for pandemic flu and disease. We coordinate with other combatant commands to assess potential impacts in the event of a pandemic, and we ensure the U.S. military is poised to respond as required, Hatfield said in a statement. The military profession fosters a culture of planning, and the fact that we are coordinating planning efforts across the geographical combatant commands is consistent with how we prepare to respond, if directed. According to the Marine Corps message Mayor Admin 08-220, commanders are to review their disease containment plans and take preparatory and precautionary actions to protect service members, installations and ships. This includes ensuring that the plans contain procedures for response, isolation, quarantine, restriction of movement and community-based intervention, as well as developing measures to contain and treat those possibly exposed. The Marine Corps mission, according to the message, is to prepare for potential outbreaks of COVID-19. The service must mitigate, respond, and recover from the effects in order to maintain force readiness. DOD 3551-13 calls for preparing for a pandemic and ensuring open lines of communication in the community, diseases surveillance and detection, response and containment. The Marine Corps also has told commanders to work with military treatment facilities on developing and executing any response and stay up to date on CDC guidance regarding the virus. The Army issued a service-wide message January 31 on the coronavirus, advising its members on the illness's symptoms and instructing them on reducing their risk of catching the infection. The message was issued the same day the Pentagon released an advisory about how service members can reduce the risk of catching the disease. It does not publicly release its service-wide messages and has not issued any since the executive order.